And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
Over here, slaving away, laboring. Probably can't say that anymore, huh? Definitely laboring. It's Labor Day.
Laboring.
Should we reset this? That's fine. Well, we're okay. People know what I mean.
Labor Day is one of those holidays, man. It's really slept on.
Yeah.
But it's so clutch because here's the thing. I don't know about your work, but for my work, it's like, you know, you get front loaded a lot of holidays. Like we get Martin Luther King Day off now again, and obviously New Year's. So you're starting off strong with all these boom, boom, couple holidays in a row. Yeah. And then you just go through this stretch, dude, where it's like you get nothing, like 4th of July. But then Labor Day kind of comes in. It's like, hey.
It kicks it off.
Kicks it off for like, then you get like Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah. Black Friday.
You get Black Friday off?
Yeah.
I don't.
We're a marketing company, you know, we're like a retail company. Like
I would think that like you would have to be on deck for that. Like,
oh, definitely on call.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, no, I mean technically it's off. Usually.
Yeah, but
it's weird because like where does like Christmas fall? Like I don't even know. Like it's Christmas falls on a Sunday.
So we get Monday off. We get Monday off. I don't know about you.
Well, I'm taking that whole week after Christmas off.
Wow, that's the best. I usually do so Labor Day for me is actually, I think, the perfect time to go to the beach because everyone goes for Labor Day weekend. So like if you go Saturday to Saturday, like the Saturday before Labor Day, your first weekend there's going to be crowded, which kind of sucks. But I mean, there's something nice about that. There's a lot of people. Everything's still open. But then after Labor Day, that Tuesday, you have the rest of the week. Nobody's there. You got the beach to yourself.
School's back in session.
School's back in session.
Yeah.
It is actually sweet. And it's not the middle of the summer, so it's not too hot. I actually think Labor Day week, dude, best time to plan your vacation.
Don't you want it to be hot, though? Like if you're on the beach?
No.
No?
I'm a person, I like doing things.
Yeah.
So I like chilling under the umbrella too, but like I like being in the water. I like
that's what I'm saying. Is like
I don't want it to be super hot.
Wouldn't it be better to be in the water? Like you throw.
No, that's how you get burned.
Really hot.
That's how you get burned.
You gotta put suntan on.
Yeah, but you gotta reapply like every 5 seconds. Like when it's
fair enough.
95, dude, you get crushed. And the problem is when you're in the ocean, you don't feel it. So then you forget to reapply, and then you just get and then it ruins your week. So now it's a little less hot.
Yeah.
Reapply less often. You're good. Great. Perfect week to go.
You convinced me.
No, I think I'm onto something.
I'm going, well.
I shouldn't have put that on the air because now everyone's going to do that. And
everyone's going to drop what they're doing and go straight to the beach.
Yeah.
I always feel weird about Labor Day because it's like we have corporate jobs. So we have off to celebrate the worker. But all the people that are like really need to be celebrated are still working. During that. So it's like,
never thought about it.
Let's have a holiday and go to a restaurant and have all them serve us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Peasants.
I never looked at it that
I always
way.
feel weird about
What do we
it.
Is that what we're celebrating? I mean, that makes sense. Labor Day.
Sure. I don't know.
We're celebrating the product of our labor.
Yeah.
I feel like America, we're just like, all right, let's throw a dart at the dartboard. Holiday. Just give everyone off. Fuck it.
Sure.
I love it though.
Yeah, we get a little weird on like what days we get off. Like Labor Day is like a staple, Memorial Day, that sort of thing. But like sometimes they just like randomly throw a day in there.
Ours are very strict. It's like 5 or 6, and that's it.
Yeah,
it sucks. But they do give us a lot of PTO. I think that's how they balance it out. So it's like, but I don't know. There's something really nice about like, oh, I get this off and I don't have to use my time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I love that.
Yeah.
Although you're like, apparently you don't even have time, which is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, we do. You just gotta like, you can't be like.
Yeah, but they don't track
it. Use it. Well, our system's just really. We have a new system now, so actually they do track it a little bit better now. But it's
we literally you have X hours.
Yeah,
and you got to put it in every time you request off.
I mean, we have that. We have that,
but not for T-Dog.
No, for me too. It's one of those things like if there's like an emergency or there's something like so for you, it's like, oh, my dog has to go to the vet.
Yeah,
and I have to take a couple hours off to do whatever. Like that's like a big deal on your end. Where like
that hits close to home.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Did I tell you about my dog?
No.
Dude,
well, you said she wasn't doing great.
She just had like a seizure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So no, that's okay. No, dude.
So it's like your rabbit. No, I'm sorry. Good.
Dude, I've always wanted a rabbit.
That's
you ever had a bunny?
terrible. No. Go on.
Rabbits are terrible?
Yeah.
Why?
They're
so
creepy.
cute.
No.
What? They're creepy?
Beady little red eyes.
Not red?
A lot of rabbits' eyes are red.
I like the bunnies with the black eyes.
Oh, the Easter bunny. Got it.
Like
okay,
normal
sure.
fucking creatures.
Okay.
Red eye? I've never seen a rabbit with
Yeah.
red eyes. No.
Okay. Go on. I'm sorry.
Bunnies are so cute. They're fluffy.
Not as cute as a bat.
That's just, I don't get that. I literally, my brain breaks every time I
Yeah.
like try to fathom that.
Yeah.
How a bat is cuter than a cow. Cows are adorable.
They are.
Yeah.
So
And they give us milk. They're awesome. What do bats do? They're literally useless.
give us COVID.
We're over
We
2.
shouldn't say that. Yeah, we should.
We're over 2.
That's fair.
Oh,
How's your
Tyler.
dog? I'm sorry. What's going on with?
My dog had a seizure like last week. It was super scary, dude. I've never seen someone have a seizure in real life. Like
Yeah.
like my mom asked. It was so funny. She's like, "Have you ever seen a seizure? Do you know what a seizure is?" I was like, "Mom, of course I do." But I've never seen it in real life. I've always seen it like second, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in a video or something, or like in a movie.
Yeah.
It was scary, bro. She like went on her back and she was like, ugh. She's like flailing.
So the dog seizures are like the same. As
Yeah.
human? Like,
They
it's just-
kind of lock up and
What do you do in that situation? Just
you,
take her to
you
the
literally
vet?
just nothing.
Yeah, you just try to.
Like apparently the correct procedure for seizures. That's a tough sentence. Like make sure they're not in a position to hurt themselves and then just wait it out, which is fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
I hate things where there's no solution. Where it's like
aren't you
wait it
supposed
out.
to like put its tongue down or something so you don't like choke on a tongue or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
any compromising position.
I feel like a dog would be more susceptible to that than
Yeah,
human.
probably. But yeah, she went on her back and like locked up, and then we brought her to the vet. She's like fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you about like the liver mass that she had. She's got this growth in her liver.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good apparently.
Yeah.
So they're thinking that maybe that's connected. But the problem is now, like once she's had one, it's like a matter of if, not when.
Broke the seal.
Or like
when, not
when,
if.
not
Yeah,
if.
I
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
what you're saying.
So it's like we're kind of monitoring that. But
Yeah.
that
I'm
was
sorry,
not
man.
fun.
Yeah,
No,
it
it was
sucks.
great. It was not great. I don't know why I said it was great.
Yeah.
It was not great.
Rolling.
It's not good.
Yeah.
But why was I talking about that? Oh, the vet. It hit close to home because we did.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is like, if you were like, oh, this is important, I have to.
Well, that's
go
what I
do
had to
this.
do, exactly.
Yeah,
So
then they're like, yeah,
exactly
okay, no
that
problem.
situation.
And it's like totally fine, and
Yeah.
everyone's really.
Well, I
nice
feel
and-
like it comes down to like if you have a cool boss, right?
Yeah, I just think everyone will always help you, which is like a very good thing for my work. Where it's like, oh, okay, like again, nobody abuses it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I have an emergency, I have to go, especially with like everything going on with the house. So it's like, hey, I got to go let the electrician in or whatever.
Right.
And she's like, okay, like, cool, because you know, like people are going to make up that time,
Right.
So it's like it's one of those like, and I'm not, there's always going to be someone that takes it for granted,
For
does
sure.
whatever, and you
For
have to,
sure.
you have to monitor that. But it's like, you know that the work is going to get done. You know that they're going to like put in extra hours after the time and stuff. And it's weird because like I feel like you almost have more pressure to, like, I don't know, not take advantage of it. Like it's just
Right.
like, oh, okay, well I'll do this extra thing, or I'll work later. I'll do it. I don't know.
No, and that's exactly how it should function, right? Like
Yeah.
it should be an environment like that because I think you actually get the opposite effect if you're like super strict about tracking
Mm-hmm.
and you get a certain number. People are like, okay, well, I'm going to use every ounce of this.
Right.
Right. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Where it's like the other way, it's like, hey, take off whenever.
Yep.
Honor system, don't abuse it. Of course, you need the right people because, like, if you don't have the right people, they're just gonna abuse the shit out of it. But
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
sounds like you have a good environment.
I'm fairly certain you're supposed to like put in. I would have to check the stuff, but like with my team, like if they need to do something, just do it, and I know that they're
100%.
done.
That's
So,
how I would run it too. Like,
yeah.
and again, I think you get more return out of that too because it's like, oh wow, Tyler's really understanding, cool. Like, I want to do a good job for him. I don't want to abuse the situation. You know what I mean?
That's the hope. Again,
I think
you just
that's
gotta make
reasonable.
sure, but yeah.
It comes down to if you have the right people. Like if you have like a person who's like a good person, like good work ethic, that's going to be the reasonable response to that, right?
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, I always have like tons of time left over at the end that I just lose at that point anyway.
That's awful.
So yeah. They let you carry some time over. So I'll
Yeah, we do
But
too.
it always like kind of like It's just a perpetual
I
rollover
always use
type
all
of
my
thing.
time. I always use it.
I always like to do
Always.
it like at the end of the year. So you have to get like, like try to get special permission of like, okay, well, hey, I'm not going to take it like this calendar year because it's just, I feel like it's always more stressful to
But
not
you schedule
be
it ahead of time?
You schedule it. Yeah. You schedule it for the calendar year and then take it. That's whatever.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm going to have to like bleep all this stuff out anyway.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. This is all inside baseball.
Is it really?
Kind of.
Did I say anything inside baseball?
Nah.
I like the inside baseball reference. You ever watch
I didn't want to
Moneyball?
say peek behind the curtain because you hate that.
I
phrase.
do hate that.
Yeah.
You say that every episode.
I
dude.
did watch Moneyball with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great movie, right?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good.
I have this like vivid memory. You know how you just have like vivid memories sometimes?
Yeah.
This is like back in college, and I was at the bar, like the bar we went to. Mm-hmm. So the bar we went to is Milano. You ever been to Milano's? It's a pizza place, but
Yeah.
a bar.
I'm pretty sure.
That was like our spot.
Okay.
I'm like trying to learn everyone's spot now that Jeff brought me to his spot, the Front Door
So
Tavern.
your spot was Milano's.
Milano's right on Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
In Pittsburgh, right down the street from Duquesne. Anyways, I just remember being fucking hammered one day, and I'm talking to the barkeep, and he's giving me a quest as they do, or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was like talking to him. I can't even remember what the conversation was, but I was so plastered, and I was like, "Dude, you just tell me what your dream is, man. Like, what do you always wanted to do?" And I was like, "You know how I get. I
Sure.
get super passionate.
Yeah. Empathetic.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to know, like, I don't know why. It was so weird, but he was like, dude, I've always wanted to be like, he was telling me he's like good with numbers. I've always wanted to be like in baseball, like a scout or something, or like a.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, did you ever see Moneyball? He's like, that's my favorite movie, bro. We were like, we were broing out pretty hard.
Sure.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I have like a vivid memory.
He went home with a big tip.
100%. Dude, I don't know. It was so
I
weird.
hope is he still there?
I don't know. I haven't been there in a
recently?
while.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in a
I'm
while.
trying to think of like what my go-to bar was.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's got a spot, dude. Everyone's got a spot.
Yeah, Fox and the Hound was one that we went to fairly regularly. Bar-wise, though, it was like, like we just went to like Applebee's and Eden Park. And
That's
stuff like
perfect
that.
spot.
It.
Well,
Yeah.
Eden Park doesn't have
Right.
beer.
So Applebee's is
our spot, quote unquote, in like high school was Denny's, dude.
yeah.
We love
Ours
Denny's.
was definitely Eden Park on that. But
Yeah.
I mean, Applebee, like looking back on it, I'm like, why wasn't I more somehow like embarrassed, I guess, or maybe it was late enough I just didn't care. There was enough people that it was
Dude,
like, cool
it was
to do it.
half
but-
price apps.
Yeah, but we would go there and then we would get like this back booth and there'd be like 8 of us or something.
Yeah.
And then we would just be playing Mario Kart on our like Game Boys.
Dude, I mean, I used to go to Denny's and we would play we play Bang. We play Bang
Yeah,
at Denny's.
that's cool.
Yeah, which is like for the audience, a card game. It's like that.
People played World of Warcraft there.
Yeah.
Like they would have like
We would
LAN
get the
parties
back
and
booth
stuff.
with the big thing. Yeah.
I wonder why they let you do that.
Because it's customers.
I guess, but like at some point, maybe it's just like, oh, these guys pay well or something.
Yeah, 100%. We would come in, we'd order a bunch of. I mean, it's not like we're not ordering food. Like
Sure.
we'd order a shit ton of food because we're just high schoolers.
But like, how long are you there compared to like a regular
But it's
meal?
fucking Denny's, bro. Like, there's no one there.
Fair enough. Yeah,
They're probably like, hey,
everyone's
man,
gone
maybe
by
someone will
4.
see them
Yeah.
there, and people will come in, get some
maybe
foot
they'll-
traffic.
Yeah.
Denny's has gone downhill, by the way. I was there like they used to be 24 hours, which is like the only good thing about them.
Yeah.
because it's not anything else. But also when
So they stopped being 24 hours?
yes, exactly. So I
Because
was
like COVID or what?
I think it was after that. Exactly. And it's like, it was like, what do you have going for you if you're not going to be open like 24 hours, if you're not going to let me play Mario Kart in the back room? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I don't know.
COVID's weird because I would love for somebody to do like an in-depth study on like how it changed businesses and changed expectations and changed like how you just interact with the world, particularly with like restaurants and retail and different things. Because like, COVID was the curbside pickup, right? Like that was something that like everybody did.
Right.
And now you can't get away from it. Like it's like, well, you got to do it now.
People
That's just
are
extra
used
stuff.
to it. Exactly.
Same thing with restaurants where it's just like normal to have different hours or weird hours, or normal to be like, well, we're just not going to do this, or like Uber Eats suddenly has like astronomical fees and different things like that.
Do you think we're going to see a point where it's like a return to normalcy, or is it going to be like a shift to like curbside pickup, for example? Like, are we going to see places sprout up that's like they don't have dine in? They only have like you come to pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, kind of like a pizza place, you know, like a classic pizza place.
Well, like my brother-in-law's pizza place, and I think he still has some dine-in, but like they definitely changed up based off of the the needs and different things like that, and they took COVID very seriously and were following all the correct protocols. But like a lot of places just shut down or closed up, because they couldn't handle it. And yeah, I don't know. I want to understand that aspect of it. I want to understand like the work from home aspect and like work from home and how do people deal with that. I know there was kind of like a quick not backslide, but like a different kind of like approach where suddenly businesses are like, oh, well, you just have to come back in, and then they were met with even more like just
nope.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, wait a second. Like they called our bluff,
Yeah.
So I would love to understand that. I would love to understand like the technology aspect of it.
I think people's standards change, right? Like
100%,
we saw in service industries in particular, and this is just like anecdotal, but like I just see we're hiring everywhere.
Yeah.
Still, where it's like just people cannot find work because they either had to like let go of people during COVID or shut down temporarily,
or people just don't care.
And then they moved on, or they were like,
Yep.
I don't even know, but I think that's interesting. And then, the work from home thing is the same way. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, no, we've been working at home. I've been getting my work done.
Yep.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
It's right. Like,
Right.
That's
And
just
there's enough people
is.
that will hire remote and like, especially in the tech world, like where like IT and people are like, we don't need to be there.
Nope. Never did, but now we've
Yeah,
realized.
exactly. But it's like, it's a little bit more normal now where it's like, no, I can literally like do a load of laundry while I'm in this meeting.
It's fantastic.
The quality of life where it's like, hey, my weekends are now, I can actually go, not that you technically couldn't before if we're all being completely honest.
Right.
But it's like it's a different mentality of before I felt like I could do nothing during the day because it's like I got home and I just can't do anything until the weekend.
Right.
And working from home, that's shifted. But yeah, I don't like, especially like just the commute itself. Like that's 45 minutes both ways every single day. You just have back where it's like, I would much rather do my job for an additional 45 minutes after 5.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I'm done, just like, well, I'm home. And it's just like, you're there.
100%.
I think people are just, it's definitely that. I think, and then just from the tech side, like grocery stores and you have the app where you just go into Giant Eagle and scan everything and then just walk out. I like it, or the self-checkout
I actually
or
heard
stuff like that.
they're getting away from self-checkouts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because people are just stealing a shit ton of things.
I know theft is on the upswing, but
like I heard Giant Eagle in particular, which if we have any audience members not from Western Pennsylvania, it's a grocery store chain.
But you would have to think that that's a line somewhere, right? Where it's like, all right, it's going to cost this much to have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I heard this was like,
I don't know.
Yeah, baggers.
Yeah.
I heard like secondhand. It's like, no, they're starting to get rid of them because they're running numbers and they're like, oh, we're actually losing more than hiring
interesting
people, which is interesting. That's.
But then you got to look into, and we are not qualified to speak on this at all, but then you got to look at like, okay, well, what about inflation? So now is it just, are they losing the same amount, but they're just losing more money now because the cost of everything is going up, right?
Yeah,
so
sure,
that could be it
sure.
now because like wages aren't going up.
Right,
no one's paying
exactly.
them because of cost of living.
That could totally,
so it's just cheaper. You can get
that could totally factor in. I'm sure it does. I mean, we talk about the whiteboard room all the time, right?
Yeah.
And that's not subject to just gaming companies. There's a whiteboard room in Giant Eagle's HQ. We'd say whiteboard. It's probably like I would actually no. I take that back. I was going to say, I think it's more technologically advanced. I don't believe that. I think those guys, they're still using fucking whiteboards, maybe even chalkboards in some companies. You know what I mean?
They definitely have whiteboards. There's definitely
a strategy
like
on
pin
there.
boards up there where you can like just like have everything like hard copies there.
Yeah.
Like big, conference room tables and stuff. And they'll have the television up. But like that's just for the people that are like remote. Right, and then everyone else is still talking like physical copies.
That's for like the CEO who's in Maui.
Yeah, something.
Calling in.
Because if the CVO's in the building, everybody's in the building.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine working at like HQ. That would suck. Because then you have to go to work. Because like for my company, it's like
you gotta be there. You gotta be ready. Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just a worker drone.
I think everyone is really like more.
No,
or less,
there are some people who are queen bees.
Oh yeah, the people that own the companies. I'm just saying, like everyone under them is a worker drone. Like, yeah, 100%. They might be higher paid worker drones, but they're still worker.
Yeah,
drones.
but you have like the Queen's elite guard. That's a nice position to.
That might be able to have one or two thoughts of their own that could influence.
Yeah, but don't you think that like the people right under the CEO are probably the people that get everything done? Like that's actually your foundation of the company.
No, the people that get everything done are the people that are actually doing the stuff. You know what I mean?
I phrased that incorrectly.
I understand what you're saying.
Do you think that the people directly under the CEO are actually making all the pertinent decisions? Because you have.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm just saying like you have like the CEO is not able to do everything, obviously. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it's like the people under you are responsible for certain sectors of the business.
Yep.
And they're going to be the ones ultimately making the decisions because that's their specialty, quote unquote. So, like, do you think that that's probably how it functions, right? And then the CEO is just like kind of like a.
I mean, I'm sure every corporate office is different, and I think it heavily depends on the CEO that you have and how like micromanagey they are, right?
Sure.
So, like, if you look at like an Elon Musk from everything
X.
that like it's just like he seems pretty hands on.
I woke up like one morning and I was like, what is this X thing on my phone?
Yeah.
I was not ready for that.
It's like an anime, right? It's like,
an anime.
This is the app that you launch and then suddenly
like Persona, the game you played because you bet a ton of cheeseburgers on it.
I played it enough to understand that
so
that's an
how
app.
does this fit into Persona 5? Tell me.
Well, it
played
does
No,
how you
go
get
ahead.
to dungeons and
close.
and defeat the gym teacher.
True. They actually, so they all, the game, they actually get an app on their phone, like randomly.
Yeah.
And that's how they that's right in the beginning. Jump into the shadow world or whatever it's called.
I don't know.
It's called, what is it called?
Phantom Realm.
Yeah, but there's a name for it. Oh, I can't remember.
I was really hoping it was Phantom Realm.
It's something like
so
that.
I could just shove it right back in your face.
Nah, it's not Phantom Realm.
It's the Persona.
It's, my gosh.
Persona Realm.
I can't remember what it's called. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Couldn't have been a good game if you
the
just
lips,
can't remember.
the teeth, the tip of the tongue.
Yeah.
Used to do that in choir.
Look out, hips. Here it comes.
What?
I don't know.
No, that was a choir exercise. Like it got your articulation.
You singer?
I sang in choir.
Why don't we
school.
have a singing intro? That's what we should do.
We're just
200th episode.
Just singing intro.
I want to.
We need Anna. We need Anna in here to help us out with that.
Okay.
She apparently, Jeff was saying, like she ad-libbed a whole song.
So
that blows my mind.
So we have like a little AI group that we meet every Friday, and
I don't like that. That sounds very whiteboard roomish.
Yeah, you gotta stay on top of the thing.
That sounds extremely whiteboard room.
But one of the
Mementos. That's what it's called.
That was the Shadow.
I didn't even look at it. I was about to look it up. It's called Mementos. No, I didn't.
Look
at my search history. Look at my search history.
No, don't do that.
I'm not afraid.
But we were looking at some AI tools, and like one of the AI tools was for rappers. Google's developing something for rappers where it's like, okay, pick a word, and like one of the people in our group was like, okay, we'll do like cat, and it's like here's all the words of cat and the okay, what is related to cat, and here's other. It's like it's such a weird, like they have all these different tools, and it's like here's what rhymes with it. Here's similes. Here's a thesaurus that does stuff for you.
So you can like make a rap.
You could it would help you kind of, and you could put like prompts in there, and it will like give you like an alliteration thing. So if you wanted to come up with like alliterative phrases, you could do that.
So how long until the AI gets better than like Eminem?
I mean, you could, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because he's like, to me, he's like one of the best when it comes to that, like the literary element.
It's a little less Eminem, and it's more Bo Burnham. Oh. Is the way I took it.
That's a left turn.
Well, you know how Bo Burnham does a lot of like he sings really quick or talks really fast or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of things related and wordplay and different puns and things like that and just keeps going.
Yeah.
that's what this seems like more than necessarily like an Eminem where it's like, I don't know, like it's more like Eminem's more rap. This is more, oh, that's a clever phrase or whatever. Not that Eminem's not clever, but I'm just saying like Bo Burnham, I feel he's on a different wavelength. But
you're going to say different level?
Yeah, level, the wavelength. No, I'm saying like it's not on a different level because like I think Eminem overall. I mean, that's Eminem. Like you can't.
To me, he's the GOAT, bro. Yeah. I mean, I'm not very well versed in the hip hop world,
but like Bo Burnham's not taking him on and rapping. You know what I mean? Right. So like it's a different line of thinking. Right. Anyway, but that tool, to circle it back, that tool seems cool. Where it like.
You kind of just did it.
I know.
You kind of did it right there.
It's just keep going. My mind. Where I could go and do a school now. Anyway, the tool seems cool. Where it makes me want to be like a bard.
Oh yeah. No,
in D&D, where it's like you're doing stuff and like you just have your little laptop and stuff, and you're just trying to like make stuff on the spot.
You always speak in like
something,
haikus or something.
Yeah, like if it could be fast enough, or if you always do the alliteration.
ChatGPT is like easily good enough to do that, though.
Yeah, but there's problems too. That's one thing we were talking about yesterday too, where it was ChatGPT is seeming to have less and less positive responses. So people were being like, "It's not what I wanted," or "This is like you're just adding extra words or extra flourishes for some reason." Like anytime I do like a quote unquote formal email to somebody, so like I'm working with I don't know, anyone that's like has to do with like life stuff that I'm like, I need to sound smart here.
Yeah.
If you run it through ChatGPT, now the stuff is getting like very like, is verbosa? I think verbose.
Verbose?
Yeah, it's just like, it's very just like eloquent, but in a weird, dumb way, right? Which might be great for D&D, like if you want to be that type of person.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what, like, nobody talks like this now. So it's like, I don't know why they're doing it that way. But it seemed to change.
Well, what's your input, right? Like that's what it comes down to.
I mean, the input hasn't changed. Before it would be like, hey, make the my input is usually make this sound better, and then I just copy and paste the email.
That's the problem. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, but it was fine before, and now it's like I'm writing like I'm this old English Shakespearean dude. Like
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
You should just make that your personality, though. That's like awesome.
Please get back to me in a fortnight. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, my gosh.
Well, so do you make separate chats every time you try to do this? Or is it
usually,
drawing? Okay. Because like one of my thoughts is it's potentially drawing on the history of like
every
chat is kind of building on this, and then it's getting to the height of literary genius, which is like Shakespeare.
Like that's the ultimate thing, right? Like it would be your ChatGPT turns into your like digital assistant.
Have you sprung for 4?
No. How much is that?
I don't know. We should split it and do it.
I haven't had to yet, but if I was going to spring for anything, it'd be for our album art.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because we get people are starting to kind of figure that out, right? It's like when we're looking at AI and it's like, okay, well, generate responses. Okay, well, you have 100 energy for today.
Yeah.
And then you can do as many as you want within 100 energy.
Right.
And like every time I generate a new album art, it's like the first one's like 25. And if I do iterative things, it's like 15 or 12 for each one or something like that. And you can just keep doing it until you run out of energy. And then you have to wait till midnight and then it recycles to 100. Which is cool.
I was going to say, I thought that like specifically for art, it was pretty lenient in terms of like how much you could get for free.
Oh, I haven't come anywhere close to doing all 100 yet. The only time that I came close to that was when I was like going back and I started at 99. It just kind of redid those just to like test it. And I think they're coming out pretty.
A lot of those were cursed originally.
Yeah, a lot of them looked really bad.
Like it could be like it's, if you're like into that sort of thing,
yeah,
you could dig that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
No,
I thought it was cursed.
Yeah,
but like I could see some people being like, "Oh."
But have you looked at them recently?
Yeah,
like
they're great.
They look
they're
very well done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even the one that would be like, "Oh, this seems a little weird," is like Harry Potter gambling.
Was our Baldur's Gate one a bear?
Yes. Yeah, because we were talking about like druids and
but like
it's druid with a lightsaber.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Sure.
Druid with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Or a bear with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Was it? Did it have a lightsaber? Now I have to look it up.
Bear.
I don't
That
remember.
was in the prompt, but it didn't really translate too well. He just,
I was
going
going
to
say, I don't remember a lightsaber.
No.
That would have been sick, though.
Yeah.
Um,
But like the Harry Potter one where I was like, Harry Potter gambling. It's just a bunch of Harry Potters. Some of them actually look like John Oliver. Like if you look at the background, it's like, oh, that looks like John Oliver. But it's a bunch of Harry Potters, which is just basically white guys with the round glasses around a poker table. I'm like, that's kind of
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, but it looked way better than anything that we would have got previously.
Right.
So they're getting good.
Why do we say Harry Potter gambling?
It was during the
Mike and John were on. Yeah.
when we were talking like the different Harry Potter movies.
Mike got
and whatnot.
shafted by DraftKings.
Yeah.
Yikes. Rest in peace.
Flipping over in his grave.
Yeah. Justin's alive and well, by the way. I just saw him
Still
yesterday.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. What a great.
What are you guys
human being.
shooting nowadays?
I brought my rifle, which is an AR-15, which is an actual AR. So AR-15s, they're called AR-15s because they're armor lights.
Yeah.
I think it's what's called, armor light rifle.
Automatic rifle?
No. Which is the company. But then there's like, there's variations, like Colt has their own and blah, 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 but they're just called AR-15s. But I have an actual AR-15.
How many clips do you have for it?
That's correct. I got yelled at yesterday, yeah.
Is it?
No, it's mags.
Yeah, it's mags, right?
Yeah, it's mags.
Yeah.
I got yelled at yesterday. I still get it confused.
Because you say clips?
I said clip. Nate's like, what is it? What do you want? And I was like, mag. And Justin's like, I knew what he meant. I was like, yes. This is why
Everybody
Justin's
knows what
the
he
best.
meant. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
I was like, take notes, Nate. Like, this is how human beings, react to that situation. Anyways, what was I even saying? Oh, so I brought that, and then I brought my Glock, my pistol, and Nate brought his Winchester, which is my favorite. The lever action.
Oh, yeah.
You feel like a
it's
fucking
your favorite,
cowboy.
but why wouldn't you get that then? Just because he hasn't, you don't need to buy one.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
100%. 100%. You've cracked my code.
Yeah.
Nate buys the fun stuff.
You don't buy a pool, you find the people with the pool.
Yes.
And befriend them.
Yeah, and then you don't have to take care of the pool.
Yeah.
He takes it home. He has to clean it.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't listen to this episode.
You're going to be cleaning next time.
He's gonna like, hey, Sean, you need to come early for D&D. Got a little task for you.
A little,
no, but that's my favorite. So that's what I was shooting. Justin had a ton of stuff, and I was telling you yesterday, dude, my allergies were so bad. I just wanted to make a public apology to Justin. I hope he didn't feel like I wasn't having a good time or whatever. But I was just like in the corner.
He just seemed really,
I was like, dude, I was like, he's such a nice guy though. His girlfriend was there too. She's awesome. Girlfriend, right? They're not married.
Oh, no.
Okay.
He's going to propose in like a week or two.
Are you serious?
No, I just want him to have a heart attack.
Dude, you torture this guy.
I know.
You know he listens too.
Imagine if he's listening with his girlfriend. That would be.
Oh my god,
Jamie, that's my fault.
Bro.
I'm sorry. I made it awkward. We're gonna roll it back. I gotta cut all this out. All right.
That's fantastic. You just bury this guy, man. This poor guy. One week he's dead, the next week, oh man. Anyways, so public apology to Justin. I had a great time. I just was miserable by my sinuses just killing me. But no, he had a bunch of stuff. Nate
See what
brought
I
all
did
his
there? I
stuff.
jumped on the grenade for you. Now he's gonna be mad at me instead of thinking that you had a terrible time.
He wouldn't be mad ever. Like I don't think anything makes this guy mad because he's just like the most positive person I've ever met.
Yeah.
Is he a fighter though? Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe he gets it all out there.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret of being like super happy. Dude, it was so funny though. Like these guys are just so into it. You know, you ever like show up to something like
D&D.
I was gonna say D&D.
Yes, I know exactly.
Like,
I know exactly.
but
What you're
are
talking
we
about.
that into it?
What do you mean?
Okay, like here's what I show up and I'm like, pulling out. I have like a bag. I have like a backpack and then my gun bag.
Yeah.
Which has like my gun in it.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, I'm like getting everything situated and my box of ammo is in this like cardboard box.
Yeah.
And then Nate comes with like 8 bags.
Yeah.
Pro bags.
Yes.
puts his belt on with all his magazines and his he can hold everything, has like body armor and his a hat with his certification on it. I don't even know, bro.
Okay,
I was just
so
saying,
you take
Justin
that.
has his belt and I don't know.
So you take that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I come to D&D with my little iPad.
Yes.
And that's it. Everyone else is coming with their dice towers and their dice and their minifigs.
You have a minifig.
I do have minifig.
Yes.
Just like you have 2 guns, right? So it's like you have the thing. You know how to shoot it.
Wait a minute. Well, just 1 second. A minifig is like you went out of your way.
Yeah.
And customized it.
I'm not saying I'm too
it.
cool for D&D. I
think you're a little higher level in D&D than I am in the gun community.
No.
100%.
Absolutely not.
100%.
That's silly. But here, my analogy is you still come, you
knew who Volo was before me.
Well, okay, fair enough.
And you bought all the fucking books. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but that's my OCD, my obsessive nature.
Yeah, sure. No, I just have all the guns. I'm not a gun guy, though.
Not a single one of those books have been opened.
Okay.
So, like, I don't, yes.
They will be eventually, right?
Nah, probably not.
So I can just borrow them whenever I want?
No.
Oh. You're less fun than Nate. Continue.
Well, we could talk about it. I get really weird with borrowing stuff because I very, very rarely do I let someone borrow something and it comes back in like the same condition I let it go. You
shouldn't let me borrow anything.
And that goes to like even Chelsea. Chelsea's not allowed to read half the books I have.
I'm
like, I will buy you a paperback or I'll buy you it on Kindle.
Yeah. Wait, do you get a digital copy with that though?
No.
Yeah. I was gonna shoot me that.
That would be completely different.
I can't ruin that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I could. Anyways, what were you saying? So D&D, you show up. Everyone's got their dice towers.
You show up to shooting knowing enough to put the stuff in your gun and fire the gun. And you enjoy the gun.
Right.
Same thing with D&D. I can like role play and roll the dice, and I have a general idea of like everything. But like if you're like when we were playing Thursday, it's like okay, you could pick 2 magical items. I'm like I couldn't name you a magical item. I can now, but like I couldn't then. And it's like, you could do any level 8 spell. I couldn't name you a level 8 spell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that type of stuff where there's always going to be people like more into like a hobby than, you know.
Yeah, no, that
was my
That's the beauty of D&D though, where it's like you can like not know any of that shit and like you're still like one of the most fun people at the table.
Yeah.
Was like you're role playing and like that's the beauty of it.
Like Greg. What's his real name? Jason, yeah.
Nate kept calling him Greg. I was like, dude, Greg's the guy who's getting married in New York.
No, Greg was his character name.
Based on the guy.
Oh, really? Is that why he came with the name? Oh, okay. Wow.
That's why they're all laughing because it's super specific. Like he has what was it called? A gotcha game addiction.
Okay.
Because real Greg has
right. Fair enough.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was fun though. I had fun. One shots are not my thing.
I hate one shots.
Yeah, me too.
But that was a fun time.
That was a fun time. I told you about like my vision for what I want to do. Yeah, I think we were in the car on the car ride going home. Yeah. But we'll get it on air anyways. Maybe I talked this before?
Probably.
Yeah, whatever. So like I've been like getting super into the Forgotten Realms. Trying to. I mean like I don't even know who Volo is apparently, but like
you'll get there.
Dude, there's just so much. There's so much shit. But I think it's super cool because it's always like, oh, they're going to this city. You can literally go to the Forgotten Realms wiki, pull up that city. There's a map. There's a whole history. You know the important players. And like you just have such a reference for every point that they go to. Because like I've tried, like the ultimate goal would be have like your own world, right? Yeah. Where you just know everything and you're like, you've created this world. But like I've tried so many times. It's too hard. Like, am I going to make a world better than the Forgotten Realms or Middle Earth or like anything? No way, dude. These people are so much more talented. So why not just fucking piggyback off them, be in their world?
Do you run into the issue? Because I agree with you. I think it's kind of cool to like just, okay, this is an established world. This is what we're going to play in, like whatever. Like that's totally fine. But then do you run into the people that know the world? Because then you're going to have the people that know the world better than you.
Yes. So here's my point on this. Sorry to interrupt. But like someone like Nate who knows things about the Forgotten Realms, I'd be like, hey, Nate. And it's totally up to him. But you know how Nate is. Like sometimes he thinks too much about what character he wants to play because he wants to fit into the group more than like have fun himself. Like sometimes he sacrifices that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's my perception. Maybe I'm totally off base on that, but like I would just sit down with Nate and be like, "Hey, play what you want, but here's a suggestion for you: like, be a wizard who is like a lore master, and you're just like compiling all the information about the realms. So like it would make sense that you're the guy who's like, oh, actually, I know about this person or blah 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 blah.
Right.
And it's like it would make sense thematically within the context of the game." And I don't know. I think that would be a cool thing. And then like the good cool thing about it is like we have the baseline of what the world is, but then our game will change and influence the world. And then it'll never be the same. And then it becomes our world, right?
Yeah.
And that's like my goal, where it's like, yeah, we run like a book, and then you have all of the characters that you guys played like do the thing, and now you're established in the world, and then we play the next book with totally new characters. But those characters still exist, and there's a potential to meet them. There's a potential to see like the ramifications of their actions, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I just think that'd be super cool. Just have this like live world that's ever changing.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think the thing that I would worry about is if somebody's like, well, wait a minute, this city should be acting like this, or this is where you have this character or something.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, but not in this game. You know, like, or you want to change it up or something. Or instead of the one bar, you just, no, it's gonna be this bar instead. And like you slowly take out like established areas within the city and replace them with your own, and like you build off of it, but you change out. So like as long as everyone's like willing to kind of adapt and things like that, it's like, yeah, you're on Earth, but it's not the United States, it's Thailand, like TYLAND or something. You know, like I don't know.
No, yeah, and that comes down to like you got to make sure the people you're playing with are cool about it.
Sure.
Because like you don't want someone to be like a corrections person, but like,
yeah,
I do think it's an opportunity. Like, because like how many times would you like, maybe not in our games, but in a theoretical game where it's like you say a name and then everyone's like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
You have 100%. A lore master in the group. It's like, oh shit, guys, this guy's for real.
Yep.
Like I know that name.
Here's the thing.
And that would be cool. Like you don't, as a DM, you're like, hey Tyler, you know this person to be blah blah blah, which works. But it's not as impactful as like I just say a name and then Nate's like, guys, we're going the other way, or like whatever the case may. Or guys,
but
there's a big opportunity.
Also,
here.
Don't have. So you're saying before anyone ever meets them, you have somebody that already kind of knows who that person is.
Yeah, like Nate would be like a. It doesn't even have to be Nate. Whoever. I mean, like would be like a loresman, like, or even a bard. There's like a college of lore or whatever. It's like. He's just trying to uncover everything. You know, he's trying to understand the world. And
I think with names, it's just one syllable names. Like all my NPCs would have one syllable names.
Not fucking D&D, by the way. Their names are ridiculous.
But that's how you memorize people.
Their names are ridiculous. Yes, 100%.
One to two syllable names where it's like all the names that like we've met along our current D&D campaign. It's like Polly. Yep. Is who I remember. You know, it's just like these really simple names. It's like, okay, like who cares what their name is as long as you're associating like, okay, here's a very simple name with the person and here's what they do. It's more like you're going to remember who they are and what they're doing versus like.
I think there's other ways around that too, where it's like you could have a complex name, but I think
have a
nickname.
Yeah.
So you could have like Lord Dysrachius, and then everyone just calls him Lord D. You know what I mean? Like
Lordy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and that's how people remember him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's 100%.
I don't know. Like playing Baldur's Gate, playing like just regular D&D, like it really makes me want to DM.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Yeah, it's just like it would always be really fun to do that. And then you have to do it and you're just like, man, this is the worst.
It's a huge responsibility.
It feels bad.
But I think it actually like such a great exercise in like group management.
Yeah.
And preparation.
Yep.
Obviously creativity and spontaneity as well.
I still want to do a tandem to DM, but like in a tandem way.
Where you shift off?
It's not even necessarily shift off, but like if you have one person that's essentially the narrator and you have another person that's maybe like all the NPCs or whatever, or it's just like you bounce it off with each other.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
It could be really, really fun. And there would be like, okay, like what aspects of DMing do you enjoy? What aspects of DMing does your partner enjoy? And then you just kind of like split those. Or rather than just always putting it on somebody, I feel like whenever you're building a world or you're doing something, even if it's two people, like one of them is going to have like a cool idea at any given point, usually, right?
Yeah.
So if one person is like blanking on something, or maybe it's not as descriptive as you want or something like that, the other person can like pick up that slack. And it's just you have this balancing of, you can only do so many voices, right? But then this other person can start bringing in theirs. And I feel like that could be kind of cool. And then you have someone to bounce ideas off of and get excited about and stuff. Because if it's just you doing it, oh, thanks, babe. If it's just you doing it, then it's like, okay, I don't know, but
wow,
I just got
the wife of the year, by the way.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting concept. I don't know how it would work in practice.
Yeah, I don't know,
but it is interesting. I like to incorporate in my games. Like I want players to feel free to inject life into the world. Like, but there's a balance, right? Where it's like, you're having a conversation and you're like, oh, I know this blacksmith in X town that we're going to, and his name is Doug.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, absolutely, yeah, let's go visit Doug. And they know each other, and like then that builds into something for sure. And of course, there's like a line where it's like, oh yeah, I totally have a black dragon that's like my pet.
Yeah, his name's Henry.
His name's Henry, and he's like level 5,000. So it's like, you have to trust your players, but I think that's a little bit, I mean, obviously, like what you're describing is way more in depth, but I try to incorporate some of that into it, like where like, no, it's not just me building this world, like it's us, like,
yes,
give me your ideas, like,
it's making a crew for a ship.
Yes,
right? And
exactly.
And,
exactly. The ownership's huge, right?
But like Jeff did that to an extent where it's like, okay, somebody from your past, write them a letter, do different things, and like that's all cool. I think if I was ever going to do a campaign, it would be here's the starting area, right? So it's like, okay, if you're in a city, a town, whatever, you really flesh that out. And it's like, this is your starting area. You could spend 3 to 10 weeks in this area if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Which then everyone would just be like, we're leaving, and then it's just like, well, that's out the window. So, but like the idea is like, it's like, okay, here's your area. You can do whatever. Everybody give me 3 characters in this area that you know very well, right?
Yeah,
Which is I think essentially what you're talking about. So it's like you have the blacksmith, you have this, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, I know the blacksmith really well. Okay, how do you do that? And like you have to like work with them. But then that's the thing is like, okay, whenever you're talking to the blacksmith, he'll maybe like talk to you more because you have this intimate relationship with him or a closer relationship or something. That's how you like give players a sense of ownership, right?
Yes.
So like if everybody goes to Polly's bar or whatever, and it's just like, I think Jeff did a really good job being like, oh yeah, like you frequent this, or everyone knows Dewey, or everyone knows Thok, everyone,
right.
That's the kind of thing that like, even if you're as a, above table, like meeting them for the first time, if you get that intro of like, your character is very familiar with them, you come here often, whatever, that's typically enough for people to be like, oh, okay. Versus like always, because D&D does this all the freaking time, or maybe just like players do this, where it's like either they're completely reckless and don't care and they're just flying through it,
right.
or they're so cautious on everything that it's just really boring and you don't move.
Yeah.
Right? So like even what we did on Thursday, where it's like, it took us, an hour to walk through the door? Right?
I was still in the first room.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So it was just like,
I'm not going down.
Because everything is just like, because it's that setup of, oh, there's so many traps here or something like that. So it's like, it only takes that one time, right?
Yep.
So, oh, a slime drops off the ceiling, hurts you. Now people will be like, I moved, but I'm looking for slime and I'm doing all this. It's like, okay, well, like.
No, I mean, I want you to continue, but like, there's ways you can combat that.
Yeah.
Where it's
100%.
like the timer you start, right? Where it's like, that first trap got set off. Now you're very cautious looking for traps.
Yep.
But the building's filling up with water.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and that's what I was saying on the ride home, where it's like, oh, exactly. You're doing this combat, but this person's bleeding out. You have to get to him and try to save him.
Yep.
Or this door is closed, the gate's coming down, and you have to like get across the entire battlefield to stop the gate or get underneath it before it closes. Then you got to find it a completely different way, or it's blocked off from you. And stuff.
This is like an interesting thing as well, where it's like I'm all about the immersion.
Yeah.
But in those instances, I will give them a number.
Yeah.
Like you have 5 turns.
Sure.
And I find that like when you give players a hard number, or sometimes even like for DC checks, when they're doing ability checks, you'd say you need to beat a 20.
Yeah.
Like that actually provides more thrill to it, where it's like we know what we and it becomes like this exciting thing where it's like, yeah, we're breaking immersion, we're doing numbers, but like totally worth it. So I'm like, I don't shy away from like sometimes being like, you got to do this.
In the Baldur's Gate-esque where you see the thing that you're trying to
and
do.
it gives you, gets your heart pumping. Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel as good if it's just like you roll it, you get an 18, and then you're just like,
nope.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly. It's more fair, right? It's like I said 20 right off the bat,
100%.
And now everyone knows, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it gives them an opportunity, like, let's say they're trying to like deceive someone, and I'm like, this is going to be tough. And I don't do this for sometimes I just tell them to roll, but like if it's a higher one, I'll sometimes do this. So I'll be like, okay, you need a 22 deception.
Yeah.
To, you know what I mean? And then it's like, then they can back out as well. Yeah. Right? Where they're like, okay, no. That's not fucking happening.
Yeah. Or the person with the whatever, the divine inspiration or whatever it is. Like, you can run over and try to like help them or something
exactly.
like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which just playing Baldur's Gate really kind of changed my view on a lot of how that mechanics work for the better, where it's like, oh, that's really cool. Like that helps. Like nothing creates cohesion like, hey, if you could just come over here and we're best buds and you always give me a D4 on every roll I do, like, okay, cool.
All of a sudden, guidance is now the greatest spell of all time.
Right? Yeah,
right? Where it's like before you just gloss over it.
Yep.
Oh, this doesn't do damage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
no, that's...
I don't know. It makes me excited for that kind of stuff. Like, I want to play more. It's just like at the same time, it's like trying to just push something forward. Like, even if it's like, I don't really agree with this person, what are we going to do? Like, waste an hour arguing back and forth? Like, just like, okay, like, let's go.
Yeah, you have to like suspend belief sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know, you can fall into a trap of that's not what my character would do. That's not what a character would do. I'm a firm believer, though, in if you're creative enough, you will make sense of the situation.
100%. Yeah.
So, for example, if you're not agreeing with a character's decision, maybe you'll go along with it and, you know, store that in the memory banks. And then when another decision comes up, you're like, well, I sided with you last time, and now I want to do this thing, and you disagree with me. And so you could go that route.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, you could... I just think, like, if you're creative about it, it could make sense. Where it's like you'll say nothing, but then later on, it's like you corner them in the room and you just have at it, you know.
If you play it correctly, yes. Yeah. I think the tricky thing with that is either you need to let the DM know, like, hey, I'm just back. Like, even if it's above table, just like, okay, I'm just going to let it go, but this is how I'm thinking or feeling or whatever. And just at least level set that. Because the other thing, if you're doing all that internally, you don't say anything. People only know whatever you emote or say.
Exactly.
So then you start getting this thing of like, yeah, but you didn't say anything here, and now you're suddenly all against it. Like, there needs to be some. Otherwise, you start getting called out of like, well, you're super inconsistent. That's not like your character. Like, and if your character falls apart for other people, where it seems like you're just either metagaming or you're just like kind of like crazy. Which if your character's crazy and it just changes everything, like fine,
sure.
But that's something that, like, as a DM, I would want to know.
I try to express, like, my thoughts of my character when they're pertinent, right? Like, you know, hey, my character's feeling this way. And then, of course, I'll try to roleplay it to the best of my ability to display that. But I think it's always important to kind of level set, like, hey, here's what's going through this kid's mind.
Yeah, like, Milo's unhappy right now.
Yeah. Which Jeff seemed to like how... And I thought we had a great moment, too, where... You know, Thought comes up to Milo and is trying to console this kid because they've potentially ruined a path of like a lot of source of knowledge to protect him, to be fair. And I think it totally justified. But from Milo's perspective, it's like, dude, like we could have learned a lot.
Yeah.
Which is like a wizard's approach to most things.
Like
this
it's worth the risk. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like, this could be dangerous. This is like a skeleton dude who's like weird, but I think it's like a combination of both. Like he's a kid and like super, what's it called, naive.
Yeah.
And also he's like, oh, this guy can teach me a lot. But anyways, yeah, there's this cool moment where Thok's like, hey, I just want you to understand why we did this. Mm-hmm. And then Milo kind of gives his point of view. And Thok's like, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah, well,
But that was perfect. I thought it was great. Because, like, let's think of it. If Thok's, like, immediately a great role model for this guy or, like father figure.
There's no growth.
There's no growth.
You're right.
This is, like, the first interaction. It's like, yeah, that was handled horribly. But that's the beauty of it. Like, Thok will, like, maybe reflect on this when he goes to bed, even though he doesn't want to. And he's like, shit, like, why can't I get this kid out of my head? And like, how could I have handled that better? And that's where it becomes interesting to me. Yeah. So I don't know. I love the game we're playing. I think it's really, really cool.
Would you be surprised if I didn't have you as my main? Because like one thing that Jeff did on the last homework assignment was like, here's all the relationships you had. Here's all the relationships you like where you want to get with each character.
Yeah.
And then like pick one and then explain how you're doing it.
Yeah.
And like yours wasn't.
No, I wouldn't
like,
be surprised.
Technically, yeah. So it's like
that at all.
I think we had some good stuff, but like one of those things was like, okay, well, like what can I do to like who's a character I really haven't interacted with yet,
right?
And what can I do to like progress that, and like what other story arcs can I open up and stuff. But
I had trouble with that assignment because I had trouble pinning down one person because I like try to like have interactions with everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, it was cool. I really like how Jeff approaches things. And that's the beauty of the game too, where it's like every person running the game is going to be totally different.
Yeah.
And Jeff has been just such a breath of fresh air of like such unique ideas, and his props are like to me, that's like one of the highlights.
Yeah. 100%.
They're so cool. Like he'll just make these model ships, and they're on his Twitter too. Is it What Killed Jeff? Is that his Twitter? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
I was sending those. We have there's like a nerd chat at work.
Yeah.
And it's like
that's like total.
Yeah. It's like, hey, check out my DM.
Yeah,
my DM's
exactly. Total brag right there.
But then the other guys are like, okay, well we're modding our Baldur's Gate, blah 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 blah. Like they're like programmers and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, fine, you win. Like, talk about being I don't know. Just intimidated, I guess, would be the.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't belong here. Like, not that I'm like a cool kid, but like you guys are way more down the rabbit hole of like understanding that stuff. Like I'd be afraid to like say something and be like, "That's stupid." Like what do you mean a wishing ring of blah 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 blah? It's like,
yeah.
Okay. What do you mean he picked a Death Knight to wish for? He should have done this, which gives you a bonus of blah 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 blah.
That's just nerds in general, bro.
Yeah,
you'll always get that. I would love to hear the counter argument against 3 wishing rings.
Oh yeah,
whatever. Like that's, you don't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Even though we left like 5 on the table, 5 wishes.
I feel like the thing that I want most in D&D after playing this, and like we were talking about this on the way home. I know we're going long on the D&D thing, but it's like a bigger investment in like what's around you, what can you use for like improvised weapons and other ways of moving and interacting with the environment during combat, out of combat. Like, I feel like we don't really do that too much. Like, I can't remember a game that I've been in really where it's like you walk in and there's several stones littering the ground, and there's like we kind of did with like whenever we were doing like mushrooms and stuff. There's a bunch of mushrooms down here. It's like, cool, I'm gonna go like look. But I think this setup should have some sort of like almost like areas of interest, right? And like sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. But it's like you walk into this cavern, here's all these different areas of interest, and it's just up to the players to be like, okay, I'm going to go check out this area. I'm going to check out this thing. And I want to be able to visualize it more and better because I feel like a lot of the time, and this is maybe it's just a me problem, where what I'm visualizing in the moment doesn't actually line up. So either it could be just me not paying attention close enough or I'm not connecting. But like Thursday was a perfect example of like I thought I was walking downstairs, but it turns out it's like no, you slid down a 125-foot pole and now you're stuck down on the bottom of a well or whatever. And it's just like okay.
I would say that one's on you because like I started walking down.
Sure.
And it's like, do you slide down the pole? I'm like, what?
But I missed that thing because there's a lot of people. So it's just like that kind of stuff. I just wish that I could connect more on the visual side of things, or if there is even. Because like there's an app on Steam where it's like it just shows you the inside of something. So like if you just had like an iPad, and they make these DM screens where you put an iPad behind it, and it's like okay, you go into the tavern, and then you can literally pull up an image on your iPad, and everyone sees it. So it's not like a squared thing where it's like okay, I have 5 feet to this or whatever, but you can get a quick there's a table in the corner. Cool, I can go sit over here. There's goblins over here. I can go kill these guys. Whatever.
I'm surprised you like my games because I'm totally the opposite. I leave things super vague.
Yeah.
Because I want everyone's going to think of something different.
But and that's fine until things start clashing or things like because then I just feel like a lot of the time is spent being like, oh, but I thought it was this. Well, no, it was actually this, and you're like clarifying things where it's like some of that stuff can at least get on the same page of you're in a tavern, and I guarantee you if it was like, hey, draw Polly's Tavern. Everyone's going to have a different layout. Right. Everyone's going to have a different thing.
100%.
Like, so just having it be like, no, this is what it is, I think could help. But
no, I agree. I think that's definitely a valid way to go about it.
That's that's just me, right? Where like I understand, like I know you like using your imagination and kind of crafting it how you think. So I don't know what the right answer is for
lazy.
That. You know?
It's like, but like I don't know. It's not usually a problem for me. If I remember, I haven't DM'd in a long time, so it's like, I don't know, maybe it was, but like, I feel like it was like players will ask specific questions when they arise, and then you give them answers to that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a two-way street, right? Like when you're talking about like fighting in particular, and like, you know, using stones or whatever, like improvised weapons or like maneuvering the environment, I feel like it's a two-way street where it's like, hey, you know, are there stones around? Is there cover? And then the DM's like, okay, yeah, let's kind of think this through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's definitely a case where like the DM can lay that stuff out, but also the players should be like, you know, hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. Is this possible? Like, you know, and it should be a collaboration.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's completely fair too. I don't know.
That's just my take. I feel like I'm always a proponent of like open communication, two-way. And then you start, like, let's say everyone's, like, super into that then, right? Mm-hmm. I think you'll see a good DM adjust and then maybe start producing some more detail in their battle setup.
As you start seeing, like, oh, Tyler normally asks for this, so I'll make sure that something's there to include it,
So, like, if you're thinking from the perspective of DM, it's like, oh, nobody's, like, asking about this stuff. Because you have so much to consider, right? So it's like, okay, I have to prioritize some things, so I am. Mm-hmm. Nobody's asking about these elements. Because Nate says the same thing. He's like, oh, I wish the battlefield was more, you you know, whatever. Like I could play with it more. I think
get cover. Levels are another thing. Levels. Like we never talk about height. No. It's never a vertical map. It's always just like, okay, you're 120 feet away from this person.
Yeah.
Can you hit them line of sight type of thing?
And that's like where I think the player can come in and be like, hey, can I get on top of something? Is there any like vantage point I can utilize? Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, I think you'll see it progress at that point where it's like, okay, I have to make these considerations.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Two-way street. I think that's like what it boils down to. So fun though.
Yeah, we'll have a ship next session.
Maybe we'll lose. I'll die.
Or we all die.
Yeah, maybe all die. Well, Nate's like super OP somehow.
Yeah.
Druids are supposed to be one of the worst classes, by the way. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't even know how he does it. He just shows up, kills everyone.
That's the intimidation thing of like, if people read the rules differently, that's like if you disagree with a DM, how do you handle it type of thing is I think that if you feel cheated or slighted or whatever, like how does that work? That I would get intimidated by, especially when you're dealing with like a person that's like, oh, I'm going to do these 12 actions because somehow I have 15 bonus actions and can, rain blood from this guy or something.
Oh, my God. I'm usually super lenient because, like, I want the first rule is like everyone have fun. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll give you like super OP shit and sure. Yeah. If you read the rule that way, let's do it. Like, of course there's a line, but like I want people to have a good time with their character and whatever. And the thing is too, is if you want it to be closer, just throw harder things at them.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. You have the power as a DM to like,
to an extent, the problem is everyone have to be at that level. So you could have somebody that is like OP and maybe it's just focusing them, but it's this kind of balance where, my character just runs up and hits something.
Yeah.
So it's like you have like I wait a half hour till my turn and I smack him with an axe.
yeah.
And I wait another half hour till my turn and smack him again. And if I'm still standing, which is fine. But then it's like, if you throw harder level enemies and then other people aren't on the same level of like, synergizing all their abilities and pathways and different things like that, then it could get overly hard.
I think Thok's simplistic, but I feel like you're discrediting like how much work he gets done. Like even last session you crit, right? And just,
it's lucky.
What was your body count? You killed like 3 or 4 people.
I think it was a joint effort. I might have got some killing blows in there.
Literally decapitated at least 3 people.
Yeah, but they were like laying on the ground.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Thok's just cleaning up.
Yeah.
His ego is getting bigger. Still at his ripe age.
But then Dwayne was doing stuff where he was like on a different battle. Dwayne was like last hitting a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Which was good, because then he thinks he like it's
exactly.
Just,
I thought it worked out. I mean, like honestly, for me, I didn't do anything. I like tried it because like I think it always, like you said, devolves into like, I just casting magic missile or firebolt and just doing damage. So I was like trying to be clever and be like, cast an illusion, see if I can distract some people and
Well, we were trying to get people over on our ship and like hit them and stuff like that. I'm sure this is a great pod for people who weren't playing our campaign.
Yeah. Anyways, so I barely did anything. I didn't kill anyone because I was trying to be more supportive.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it always comes down to me, it's a lot about the roleplay element, if not all of it.
I am going to be very interested to see what Jeff does whenever we literally have a ship that can go anywhere. That's all right, buddy. Like good luck.
For a dude like this is first time DMing, running from a book too. It's like we should be lenient. We'll see. Thok should have PTSD from like his last crew, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a fire that breaks out, I'm done. Yeah.
Oh man, what a game, dude. That's what I want though. I just want a cohesive world.
Yeah.
Where it's like, because we always bring Thok in, which is great.
Yeah.
But I would just want Thok to be a part of the world.
100%.
Where it's like he is legend, but he's like doing things. And like I was telling you guys, like once we finish a campaign or like a book or whatever, those characters still exist. And then there's like an epilogue where it's like, okay, what's your goal? Like you're like a level 20 wizard.
Yeah.
And you're like, I build a wizard tower and I have acolytes come in and I teach them and start a school or something. Or like Thok creates a village and he just runs a village and has a harem or whatever, right? And then it's like, great, we play campaign 2, new characters and blah, blah, blah. And like, we've heard things about whatever, like the first campaign. And like maybe that affects it somehow. And maybe you even run into one of the characters. And then we're done with that.
Or you have to go rescue Roland,
Absolutely. 100%. And you could do things that way. And it's like, okay, that game ends. What are your new characters doing? What have your characters done from the first game? And you're like keeping track of like, here's a list of my characters. And it's like, now the world's like, the wizard from the first game is trying to influence politically what's happening in the capital. And he's trying to get so-and-so elected. And so that like, you know what I mean? It's like all this stuff and it's just ever flowing. I think it's so cool.
It's
like Thok got bored,
and
now he's a warlord, and he took over the next village.
It's like a Hulk, like World War Hulk or whatever. He's just like, whatever. I'm just gonna go.
Thok wants to live forever now, and he's like seeking. And the beauty of it too would be like, okay, we finished another campaign or whatever, and like now I'm trying to like ask you guys what you're doing within that year or how many years that took. And it's like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. Tyler said, let's do a one shot where we play this out and see how this goes. Because it's not like, oh, I do this. It's like, what do you want to do? Right. And then it would either be like you roll for it or we play it out and we see what happens. And then like that's now fact.
Like, okay, you want to build a wizarding tower. Like, can you? How do you do that?
Yeah.
You know, like, that would be really cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
I always think Thok's going to eventually figure out, like, oh, there's rumor of a way to get back to, like, my OG dimension.
So this is like maybe spoilers, but depending on how high we get and like how close Milo and Thok is, it's like Milo will get a wish spell eventually.
That's what I mean. Like, can I
like
just
100%?
Leave? You know,
I mean, like we can try. That's the beauty of it. We can try.
Yeah.
And it's up to the DM, and it's like,
yep.
And the craziest thing about that is like Milo could be like, I wish Thok was back on his boat with his crew before the events that transpired, so you could stop it.
Which would be amazing.
That'd be crazy.
And like that's a one shot,
right?
Yeah.
And then we play that, and how does that bring
Glenasky back? Like, all right, buddy.
Call
Here's take
Josh.
2.
Be like, you have to see it.
You have to figure this out.
Yeah, but that's I don't know. That's the cool part about it. Like, and that's what I was kind of telling you guys about the other day, where it's like a lot of people hate playing high level games. Mm-hmm. So you know how there's different tiers of play, like 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and or 11 to 16, 17 to 20. It's like the different tiers. People hate playing the high level games because it gets so convoluted and crazy.
Yeah,
but I think there's such a great opportunity of just doing wacky and wild shit.
I mean, yeah, like you're gods, and I feel like there's just some responsibility to the players to like you regulate yourselves,
100%.
right? So if somebody's just like, I'm a guy, I can do whatever you want, and you're starting to be somewhat of a tyrant, it's like, okay, do the other players like go along with that? Do like cities and castles and stuff like spring on and be like, oh no, we got to stop this guy because he's like destroying the countryside or something like that. Like,
and then that becomes a one shot.
Yeah,
where X player is the bad guy.
Yep.
And like, because you got to think too, like, you know, there's actual gods which are stronger than 20 level characters. Like 20th level characters are not gods. There's a huge distinction.
Fair enough.
So it's like, yeah, if you're a tyrant and you're just like, oh, I'm bored, I'm just going to destroy everyone. It's like, no, there will be adventurers that go after you. There will be gods that say, this guy's getting a little out of hand.
Yeah, like you're the big bad. And now you have a whole new campaign going to take you on.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's ever changing and it's awesome.
I mean, I still have my one giant that's chilling in that dimension, just like wrecking the 100%.
And that's so cool. And the beauty of that too is like if one of your ex characters, your previous characters, is the big bad, it's like either that person DMs the campaign because they know exactly how their character is going to act, or like the DM like goes to them and it's like separately and be like, hey, what's your plan? Like, how are you going to do this? And like, of course you have to like not metagame, but
yeah, that's the thing is you just have players that, I mean, that was the thing like last session where it's like, all right, I could use a wishing ring and like, I know that I should be like uncharming these people and doing this and wishing for this and doing all that stuff. And it's like, I'm gonna hit him with a little whip, or I'm gonna like pull his, it's just like
he holds his ring until the last second.
That's the thing. It's like I'm this uppity lord. It's just like it's my precious type of thing, and it's just like, all right, I have to do it this way.
Having the cake is worth more than eating it.
Like I shouldn't be a good fighter. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have like I always feel like, okay, I'm just like anyone that ever fought would be like I would control people, or like they'd fight for me and stuff. So like I don't know any better. That's why I didn't have any weapons on me and stuff. Like I literally had, exactly.
You were a druid, which is the most shocking part.
And I was looking at all my stuff, and I'm just like, all the spells that I had, I'm like, I have to do this on like, it's purely self-preservation.
Yeah.
So like all this stuff, it's not like, oh, you Spire get a better vantage point to like attack them. It's like, no, this is how you escape. Like this is how you get out of there.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. And then
I thought you played him brilliantly.
It's just like the spite of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved your role playing. Like he was, I was hating you. Like you were playing him so well. Such a dick.
I was worried that you'd be like pissed, and I'm like, I'm gonna take your wishing ring.
Oh, dude, like, all right. Who cares? First of all, it's one shot, and second of all, it's like brilliant move.
It's just, oh man,
I'm like, that's a good move. I look down at my ring, and wishes it away.
Anyway.
Yeah, D&D's fun.
Yeah. I should like it more. And I think deep down, like I want to know the lore. I want to know all that stuff. It's just like, it's so much time. There's so much time.
Yeah, it's
like
too much
once
time.
a week's not enough to really do what you want to do, but then playing more than that can get to be a chore. And it's just like, yeah, it's a tough,
you got to find a balance. I'm loving what we're doing. I mean, I'm just having 100%. A great time. With my other friends, like we played through one of the books and it was awesome. It was just like, and the thing about it too is like, I really like playing with the books because like you're going to go off course anyways.
Yeah.
And it just gives you that template of like, if you don't have an idea, here's the book. But if your characters are guiding you or your players are guiding you and doing what they want to do, and then it just becomes its own thing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Jeff does a good job kind of like flowing it, but just being like, all right, and then here's what you can do. Like it kind of like guiding. Like I feel like we've been on a track more or less in a good way.
Yeah.
So like there are times when it's just like, okay,
linear there's nothing wrong with linear either, right? Like
it keeps things interesting and moving forward and going and stuff. Like because like otherwise it's like, okay, what do you want to do? I don't know. Yeah,
drink.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's all I'm gonna do. So, yeah.
No, exactly. I think there's something to be said about that as well. So, no, I'm having a great time with it.
RPGs are cool.
Yeah, speaking of RPGs, you've been playing Starfield.
So I wasn't gonna do the early access, but you can pay the $30. You get early access if you have Game Pass.
Right.
And the way I was thinking of it, it's like, well, I don't actually have anything to do this weekend. Like, and I feel like pretty, like there's no guilt there. It's like, okay, I have tons of stuff to do next week, but like this weekend is pretty much open.
Yeah.
And it's Labor Day weekend. So it's like, I got the extra day of just like, okay, I'm just going to dive in. So I paid the $30. We started it. That is a wild game that is, I don't know how I feel about it yet. Obviously, I'm only like 5 hours in, but it's so big. I don't know what's important yet. And I think that's the thing that's kind of the main stuff. So like, I won't be spoilery about it, but it's like, you start off in this, like, you're a miner. And then, I don't know, 30 minutes in, you're like, you're not a miner anymore. Here's the universe. like a Bethesda game, right?
Yeah,
but it's just, I found myself actually sticking to the main storyline more than I would normally do in a Bethesda game because I feel so lost in this like just big universe thing.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep going to this. It's a blue dot on your like waypoint or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going to this and
right.
just keep going forward. But I found myself like you can like fast travel everywhere. Like if you've been there once, you just keep fast traveling around. So like missions, it's not like run here and do this thing and then run to a different thing and do this thing. It's just like teleport here, do it. Teleport here, do it. And
do you like that or do you
not? Oh, I'm technically doing it to myself. I could run from point to point if I wanted to,
right?
But it's like that's just it's kind of a slog. Like so, it's like I'm doing it, but also it's like feeling like it's like there's no real reason on how I can do it or anything like that. Like it's hard to explain. Like they build this game as so completely immersive, right? And there's certainly aspects to it where it's like it's very immersive in that like I have to memorize the layout of this city because there isn't a local map. So it's like, oh, I need to know where the shops are. Okay, well, like I'm looking at like street signs and stuff to be like, okay, I can go here, and you have to like memorize the different areas and different things like that.
Right.
It's not a problem because this is like the first world I'm on, but there's 100 planets or something like that. You know? So it's like, well, that's going to start getting really convoluted, I could see. So that I'm getting a little worried about that. I think the character models are wildly varied, where it's like you can very quickly tell, like before even going up to them, I can tell who's a named character and who's not, just for the level of detail and different things like that.
Okay.
So there's that aspect to it. I know a lot of people have been crapping all over the inventory system. I think the inventory is terrible, which is kind of an annoying bit. Is it as bad as people are saying? Maybe not, but also I think Baldur's Gate maybe isn't the best inventory system either. Like you get over encumbered pretty quickly,
right.
and like there's not a lot of organizational things.
Right.
That's the thing I want is like I'm not like a inventory snob per se, but you should give us an option to junk things and just do a quick like okay, just get rid of everything, and there should be a very easy like group option or organizational option or different things like that. The problem with this inventory is if you open up your inventory and you sort it, whenever you close out the inventory and open it back up, it's completely, you have to sort it every time you open it, which is just
Yikes.
kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And then the controls too, where like if you tap on it with the left, what do you think the left and right mouse buttons do? So if you click on it with the left mouse button, it like selects it.
Yeah.
What do you think the right mouse button does?
Usually it's like a drop down, right? Like
something, yeah. Well, it's the exact same function as the left. So it's just like
just highlights
it's just
again.
it's just like a weird thing with all of that stuff. So those are kind of like the criticisms that everyone and their mother has. So it's like I'm not unique in that respect. It's like it's a fair. It's not really pushing the boundaries anyway on that.
Do you think modders will come in and just
they
totally
would have to, right?
clean
like,
that up?
I think a mini map would be awesome,
Yeah.
especially as you're going around there and doing that kind of stuff. I think I was shocked at how similar it was to No Man's Sky when you're like scanning things and you're going on these worlds and like it's just very vast, but like there's nothing on these worlds. It's not like
That's the problem though, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not going to do it better than No Man's Sky.
I mean, No Man's Sky isn't super involved in that like okay, like
well, I'm
here's-
talking specifically scanning, getting ore
and No Man's
deposits.
Sky is better.
That's
than,
gonna
than
like
Sky-
that's their
Starfield.
thing.
Yeah.
So in my mind, Starfield
Yep.
should have went in the other direction where it's like, no, you're gonna find interesting.
Starfield's
don't
quicker. So like with No Man's Sky, you're like holding a button and scanning each item and like looking for stuff and doing different things. Starfield, you just turn on your visor and just look for bright spots on your visor and just run up to it. And it
That's nice.
scans.
They make it easy.
Yeah, it's just it seems like just chores, like just extra work. Like
Yeah.
I did 2 side quests so far, and both of them were go to these 6 points and pick up things, and then come back to me. And it's just
Yeah.
like that's what we're doing already, and maybe it's not fair, but it's like I just got done with. I'm not even. Here's the thing: I'm not anywhere near done with Baldur's Gate, but it's like I'm coming off of Baldur's Gate, where like every single thing you're doing is mattering in some form or fashion.
100%.
And with this, I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm playing Han Solo, right? So like I'm a scoundrel. I'm a sarcastic guy. Every option, because normally I'm like, I want to be a goody two shoes and stuff. Every option is like, yeah, I'll do that for you as long as you make it worth my while. And I'm like, I'm embodying that like, episode 4-esque like early on Han Solo. So like that's my fantasy. That's when I paid into Star Citizen. That's all I wanted it to be. It was like a smuggler, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'm searching these people out of like, who's the shadiest people I can like find? But even they're not like, they're okay, like they're shady, but there's like, it's kind of boring. And a lot of like the people so far, like with, again, it's apples and oranges with Baldur's Gate and Starfield. So I don't want to keep comparing the two, but like, that's my most recent RPG. So when you're looking at like the character models of Baldur's Gate, they're fantastic. They're so like emotive and expressive, and like I was immediately like, oh, interested in their story. With these guys, I'm like, I don't care. Like I don't care.
Right.
So I'm hoping that like if I streamline a lot of like the main stuff, it'll open up, and then like I can just kind of do whatever and explore and kind of like figure stuff out. So I'm still in the early, like I would still consider this like a tutorial phase and stuff like that. But it's just like there's so many missions, so many different things to do. That my overall thing is just I am so overwhelmed right now. Where like Skyrim and even Fallout I would say is probably a little bit closer because like Skyrim, and maybe it's just like the I don't know, was it like medieval nature of it where I'm like, it's like you're on a planet, right? Like you're in this, like this is one map. I think the fact that you're like jumping from planet to planet to planet and doing all this stuff, I think that's what's like, oh my
very
gosh,
disconnected.
Yeah. But it feels very sectioned. So like I'm always going through like fade outs and fade ins of like, I'm going to this building. Some of them you just open up and walk into. Some of them it's like fade out, fade in. Now it's a whole new complex with multiple floors and stuff. And it's just like there's not a seamlessness there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that yet. But I think the best thing in this game is at any given point, you just hit escape, quit to desktop, and it saves it and quits to desktop. So you don't have to quick save. You don't have to save. Like it's just you can end the game in 3 seconds. I think that's awesome.
That's the best part of the game is that you can end it so quick.
I think I think it's kind of cool that it's just like if I'm running in the middle of something and Chelsea's like, oh, help me with groceries or whatever. It's like, all right, close down. And I know that like that whenever I load it back up, it's fairly quick load. It's right there.
Yeah. Okay. How's it running? Is it running well?
It's mixed. I'm running on like medium right now because I'm like, I'm waiting for Digital Foundry just to come out and be like, here are all the options to do. Here's what's like taxing on your system and not.
Yeah.
Medium seems to be pretty like fluid, like above 60 across the board. Like no matter if you're in a dense city or if you're like in a like cave or whatever.
Okay.
But then in the beginning of the game, I was running on high ultra and it was totally fine because you were in like a enclosed building, so it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But then the moment you go to something that's a little bit more dense and people are walking around and stuff, suddenly it's like chugging and it looks like Vaseline smeared on your screen as you're turning around and stuff. So medium seems to be fine, but 3080 Ti, which is nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But there's no DLSS, there's no full screen mode, there's no like I can't change the resolution without actually changing like the window, which is not good. The only way to change that resolution is you have to like use the resolution scaler, which is rough. There's no contrast, at least that I couldn't find. Like, there's no contrast slider too, which is bizarre to me. Like every game is like, make sure this logo is bright or dark or compared to the white or black, and nothing like that. So it's like everything just seems not very contrasty and washed out. And that's on a NOLED, so it's just like I wish there was a slider for that, which I don't know why there's not. There's no HDR. There's no. So it just seems a little weird on the PC end for some reason.
Interesting.
But
okay.
I'm not down on it. It's like it's way too early to make any type of like actual judgment. It's just like right now it's just bewilderment and I don't know what to do.
Right.
And then some of the stuff they don't really tell you too much on, where it's like, hey, you have a jetpack now. Cool. Well, you can't use a jetpack until you unlock that skill. So it's like, oh, okay, well, like, luckily I just happened to put that on.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff is like trial and error. A lot of that is exploration. Every time you're like, because you can highlight stuff if you put your visor over it.
Right.
And it'll show you like, here's 1,500 mugs in this cafe. You can steal all of them if you want. So you can go around and like steal them all, but then it gives you like the weight and the value of everything. But now I'm looking at like the weight because it's like, well, if I can carry 15 of these mugs, or I can carry one of these like weird sculptures that are worth more. So that's all something. But
I think you could probably upgrade that though, right? Your carrying weight.
Yeah. You can get like strength upgrades and different things like that. And it's actually kind of interesting because the way to upgrade them is you have to do like challenges for each thing. So for instance, like I got like a mercantile skill where it's like I sell things for 10% more and I buy things for 10% or 5% less or something.
Nice.
And after I sell 25 unique items, so like something that's like one of or whatever.
Right.
Then I have the ability to upgrade that. But there's like, I don't know, 50 different talents and different things like that. Everybody wants to be on your ship. Like you can just walk around and be like you can just hire people.
Let me be on your ship.
And everyone has different skills. So like you can put them on your ship. You can put them on, like you can make outpost based on every planet, I guess.
Right.
So there's just a lot to it. Like we saw in the one trailer that did where you can like customize your own ship and stuff. So like there's a lot to it that like I haven't even seen the surface to scratch it yet. You know what I mean? So that's all kind of cool. The gunplay is actually not too bad. It's not like Call of Duty or Destiny or Doom or anything like that. Like it's serviceable. It's fine.
Yeah.
They're bullet sponges for sure, but it kind of makes sense because it's like, okay, well, you have a shield or you have all this stuff and things like that.
Okay.
And they do react when you shoot them. So it's like
that's the important part.
All good with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm playing it all this weekend. Like
How was
paid the $30, so I have to play it.
Right, absolutely. How was character creation? How did you feel about that?
It's what you would expect. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking. I actually found I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on this game because I'm not. Like I'm really not. But like I'm a big UI guy. So the UI is not it was finicky for me. So like it would be like, hey, here's your nose. And you're like, okay, cool, nose. And there's like 4 options. Well, so you have like 15 options for a nose. So you pick the nose that's closest to yours or whatever. Like I made a guy that looks pretty much like me.
Okay.
Pick 15 options of your nose. Okay, I pick the nose that looks close to your mind. Then you have like the like finite movement and details, which Baldur's Gate doesn't have to their credit. So like, okay, cool. Like Starfield's better in that regard, I guess. But then you have like 4 options where it tells you, okay, big, small, up, down, nostril size or something like that. But then there's like 8 sliders that are literally just numbered 1 to 8. You have no idea what they do. And then you have to like go on each one and just drag it and try to see, okay, like what is this actually changing?
Right.
But the problem is all the sliders are like linked to each other. And it's weird to describe. It's like, okay, I go to slider 1 and I move it, and it's like, oh, this is inflating and deflating like the tip of my nose, right? So I'm going to be like, I want a big bulbous nose. So I jack that all the way up.
Yeah.
And then number 2 is like, okay, well, this is going to be your nostril size. So like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to jack that all the way up too. But the problem is, it's like, oh, well, if you jack up your nostril size, it's like automatically like turning down the size of your tip. Yeah. So it's like, it's this weird kind of like balance of like, well, if I do this, you have to like do it very, very slowly and see how it's like affecting the other sliders as you're going about doing it. And through all of this, it's like, oh, you can change how you look at like a geneticist station. So I'm like, I wasn't like too into like making it perfect because unlike Baldur's Gate, it's like you can just change what you look like.
Right.
So that was a little annoying. And the fact is, like with your mouse, because I was on PC, if you accidentally hover over something else, it takes off like the little detail finishes and puts it on like, oh, you accidentally hovered over mouse. So now mouth is on. It just doesn't, it's a little janky.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah.
Overall.
Gotcha.
I made a guy, he actually looks pretty decent. I think that one of the worst things is when you make a character and you're like, I love how this character looks. And in the real world, it's like, this character look is terrible.
Yeah.
And it's always like the cheekbones look bad, or it's always the eyes are sunken in or something. This guy looks decent. So I don't know. It's over. Like, again, I'm not crapping all over this game. I think overall it is. I like the sense of, oh, this is like an exploration. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to find around every corner and stuff. The problem is you land on this planet. It's a barren planet, and you can go to like an installation, and you know that installation is chock full of like little things to find and do whatever.
Yeah.
But then like the rest of the planet seems just nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Zelda. It's not like, oh, every time you explore, or Baldur's Gate, every time you explore, you're going to get rewarded in some form or fashion. Granted, I'm only 4 hours in. Like, maybe I'm 100% wrong there. It was just my initial impression on the initial opening of the game, on the initial, like, you have to go to this planet first is part of, like, the tutorial. I was like, okay, well, like, you would think you would front load, like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Not too much. Like, it's just like you go in, and there's no... And again, maybe I'm spoiled by Baldur's Gate, but it's like I was expecting to go in and like talking to the like. I'm not trying to spoil it. It's like you have to go take care of these pirates. Okay, like you go. I'm gonna go talk to the pirate, and it's like I thought I could at least like talk to them before they just immediately were like, "Who are you?" and then just start blasting you like crazy.
Right.
So that's kind of it's less like. There's not always a talking option so far. Like some of them, like if it doesn't have a name, it's just like pirate. Probably gonna kill the pirate.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's I'll play a lot more of it. I'm sure I'll have a dozen hours into it by the end of the weekend. But
no, yeah, I was actually talking to your cousin yesterday, and he was kind of looking at some of the reviews that were out, and he was very unexcited to learn that it takes a while to actually get things going. Is kind of the consensus of what he was reading, at least. So that's tough. I mean, like, look, if you want to be a compelling game, you should have a hook early on, right? Like, I don't think, when people say, "Oh, it gets good after season 2," it's like, well, you're losing a lot of people. I mean, I don't think the expectation should be, it takes a while to ramp up. Like, there's something to be said about being good out of the gate, right? So it's tough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm very conflicted. I mean, not conflicted, but like, I do not know how I'm going to feel about this game. I've just heard everything under the sun. So it's like, we're going to find out next week. I don't know.
I think from an immersion standpoint, you'll like it. I think that you'll like it when you get to there's like a neon cyberpunk-esque city. Yeah. So like maybe that'll scratch cool. that itch and stuff.
Yeah. I just love like walking around, feeling like I'm a part of the city, part of the world.
But I think that I guess this is the first game they made in what, 10 years or something like that.
Well, the first new universe.
New universe. Yeah. When did Fallout 4 come out? Like 2011 was Skyrim.
Yeah. 2015, 2016.
Sure.
2018. Okay. I actually maybe like 2016.
So like 5 years ago.
Sure.
Like it still feels very. This is a Bethesda game, so you talk to somebody, and their portrait comes up on your screen. You have the dialogue options and stuff, which is fine. But like, if they're doing something and you want to talk to them, they like slowly stand up and slowly turn to you and then address you or something. And it's just like everything just interacting with stuff. It just seems like it's like, why do I need to see this animation for 2 seconds? Or like,
it's Bethesda, man.
I know, but like that, you would think that would be different by now, and it's not.
Maybe it's part of the charm. I don't know.
Maybe, but
that is so like you're playing a Fallout when they do. I know exactly what you're describing.
It's just you're coming hot on the heels of what I think will probably be Game of the Year of Baldur's Gate, and it's just like that's a tough.
Well, what do you do? I mean, Baldur's Gate just outplayed everyone, right? Yeah. Like I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be interesting though. Like I think Bethesda games age like fine wine, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they do. I mean, like Skyrim. Just look how far that game. I mean, people are still, it's still supported. It's
the thing that will.
And once you get used to it too, it's like because like think about when you played Skyrim for the first time, right? Like you probably went to the village that they told you to go to after the dragon attack and did that whole thing, which is great. Riverdale
or whatever.
But then, like, I load up a Skyrim game, I go immediately to the Thieves Guild.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And, like, you kind of learn. I don't know. I feel
but the problem with that is there are certain... So, like, when you travel around the different stars, and I was showing Chelsea where I'm like, hey, I'm on this map. And I showed her the map, and I'm like, there's all these different installations and cities and different things like that. And I zoom out. I'm like, but I'm on this planet. Look at all the planets in the solar system. She's like, oh, that's a lot. And I zoom out again, and it's like, all these dots are... all of these solar systems, and like you can only go to a handful that are like white, and then there are some that are red because you have to like upgrade your ship and do these different things. Yeah. So it's like if the Thieves Guild is, I don't know, a million light years away, you still have to do a certain section of it.
More than one Thieves Guild in the universe.
No, there is, and trust me, I found plenty of shady characters to deal with, but like.
But I was told that there's quest lines similar. Like if you're part of the Brotherhood or whatever, there's that quest line. So I would imagine there's similar things, right? Where you can join organizations and.
But what I'm saying is like, well, there's dude, you're thrown into organizations before you even start the game, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves. And this isn't unique to Bethesda games, but. During character creation, you're like, here's all your backgrounds and here's all the different things you can do and the pros and cons and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, how would I possibly know what I want to do? Right? Like, it's just like, oh, I want to be I picked a scoundrel because it literally was like, I forget what the description was, but it was like, you're Han Solo. Like, you want to be Han Solo. I'm like, yeah, it's great, sure.
Perfect.
I like pistols. I like whatever.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I'll pick him. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
But like, you don't really know what any of this stuff is. And the one thing I do like the fact that there's no like put stats in strength and dex and whatever. So I appreciated that because it's all just skill based. But you don't know what any of those skills actually do or what you want to do. And then there's like you have to pick 3 like let's call them perks. I forget, it's traits or something.
Yeah.
But it was like, you choose to be part of the, I don't even remember what they're called. Let's say you want to be a Christian. And it's like, cool, I want to be a Christian. Well, you can't be a Muslim then or whatever, like whatever other faction they are or something.
Right.
It's like, well, what if I want to be both? Or what if I want to understand what they both believe? What if I want to, like go, figure out what this other religion's all about? And it's just like the fact that they're pre-locking you into different things before you even know what the universe is.
They don't give you a description of what the...
No, so that's the thing is they don't. So I was like, you want to be part of the Church of Scientology? Cool. What's the church? What do they believe in?
What are they
and
about?
It's like there's no like learn more or anything on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, so I picked like very generic, like you could use like you could be an introvert, you could be an extrovert, you could be so like if you travel with a party, you are drained more as like an introvert versus
cool.
like if you're solo and stuff, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that is cool.
And I picked the adoring fan, so like I have a dude that was popping up. It was hilarious because one of the side missions I was on, somebody took a thingamabob and she's like, oh, it costs 100 credits for it back. And then a prompt pops up. It's like, you could pay your 100 credits or you can steal the thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to steal the thing.
100%.
So I crouched down because I unlocked stealth, which you don't start with. So before it was like you crouch down, there's no detection meter or anything. You have to unlock that ability. So it's like I finally unlocked that and I'm crouching around and going into the thing. And then all of a sudden it goes into this like, the camera pans and you're talking to this guy and he's like, oh my God, you're my favorite thing, blah, blah, blah. In the middle of me trying to like stealth. So I don't know if that was just like planned or if it's just like there was like a certain amount of time, like after hour 4, he pops up.
Yeah.
But I laughed out loud. Like that was pretty funny.
Hilarious. Did you ruin the thing?
Oh yeah, I paid the 100 credits and I was like, okay, well I can't. Because like there's like a guard in there now and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, whatever.
That's fucking hilarious.
So that was really good.
You can't write that any better, dude.
Right?
Yeah. That's what Bethesda games are all about. Like sometimes the stars align and it's just like you get these fantastic moments.
And the reason why I didn't think it was scripted like that was because like when I'm talking to him, he's like half in the doorway. So he's like he's talking to me in like this sliding door.
I just imagine him walking by and be like, oh
yeah. I was like,
oh, you're sneaking.
He was like, normally I just sit down and drink coffee and eat whatever cereal it is, but he's like, I heard about you, and I was like, I'm going to change up my life, and I'm going to go for a jog. And I'm just like, oh, that doesn't sound like me at all. And he's like, and lo and behold, at the end of my jog, I saw you. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, come aboard on my ship or whatever. Because apparently he gives you gifts. So
wow, that is...
but it's just such a weird thing. Like I was listening to other people play in the game, and like one guy was like, I accidentally said a wrong thing, or I stole something I shouldn't have, or whatever, and then I got thrown in jail. And he was like, and then that's all I've been doing is like they want me to be like a informant for blah 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 blah. And he's like, I am so off the beaten path.
That's
and
cool.
like that's cool.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Is I want to be like
just get lost in something,
drawn off the path. And I just haven't met that person yet.
Yeah.
And it's just tough because there's no. And this is where the immersiveness comes in. Like you have to like go up to everything and check everything, and you have to go talk to everybody and see if they perhaps have like I talked to like a barista. And she has me going robbing like the impound because she's like, oh, they have like a ingredient I want for this drink or whatever. And I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So like there again,
I think some people dig that, right? Like the old school RPG, they don't hold your hand. There's no exclamation point above the fucking person's head. It's like,
but that's it.
Engage in the world and find out what you're gonna find out. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna play a ton of it. We'll see. I'm
excited.
I think it
kind of nervous
fine.
though.
Yeah.
I know. I really want to like the game. So like now, I'm hearing all these critiques.
Well, the thing will be, I'll be ahead of you, obviously. So I'm hoping by hour 10 or whatever, 12, that something will have grabbed me where I'm like,
that's what IGN said.
You need to like get through it.
Hour 12, they're like, okay,
is that
I'm
really
starting
it?
to make sense of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, the problem that I have is I've done 4 hours, but like, you know me, man, I pick up everything.
Sure.
And there is like, you think Baldur's Gate has a lot of stuff? Not even close.
Uh-oh.
And the crazy thing is, like, the problem is with Baldur's Gate is like, oh, I'm encumbered. You pull it up, it shows you your entire party,
Yep.
and you just drag it over, and it's good.
Yeah.
This, it's like, I got to run up to this person, and I got to talk to them, and I got to say, I would like to trade with you. They're like, okay, you can trade with me. And the robot is very well written. Like, all the writing is really good,
Okay.
but like the robot talks so slow. And it's just like, okay, man, I just want to get to the inventory. I want to give it to you. And it's this weird thing where like the inventory just looks identical. So if you're selling your ship inventory, your inventory, the robot's inventory, the person you're buying from's inventory, it's all the same. So like I was getting confused. I'm like, okay, well, wait, who am I actually in now to do whatever? And it's a bad system. They need to fix that. And I don't. There's no way they're going to, right? Like they're not.
I mean, dude, they know modders will come in, clean up their game.
But we have that through Xbox. So my big question is like, okay, how do mods work through Game Pass through Xbox? Steam, easy enough.
Right.
You have the workshop. You have whatever.
That's a great point.
Xbox is a little different. So
it's a great point.
We'll see.
Feel like you would download directly from the modding site,
yeah, like Nexus
right?
mod or whatever.
Yeah,
I assume I want to make sure that it
but
works.
To be fair, Xbox, like when things are on Game Pass, the files are like weird to access.
Not anymore. They changed that.
Did they change it?
Yeah.
Because I still can't access it through my Alienware command center to set like, I should be able to scan my library. And then I can customize. Oh, I'm playing this game. I want this color scheme. I want my fan setting on this.
It depends on the game. So like Sea of Thieves, you can't because it was a
Gotcha.
game. This is new. So like
I should.
For instance, it's like, oh, I want it to be installed in this location. Now they give you that option.
Gotcha.
So
okay. That helps
we'll
a lot,
see.
actually.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Okay. Interesting. I'm excied, but kind of not sure. Like, it's just been like, and the thing is, I watched IGN's review today. They give it a 7 out of 10, right? And it was kind of exactly what you were saying. Like, had a lot of trouble with these things, but I don't hate the game, and blah blah blah. It opens up at a certain point, blah blah blah. But then you look at the other reviews, and it's like 9 and 10s.
Yep.
I'm very
like, how much of that is just Bethesda fandom? How much of that is like
maybe.
we love Xbox?
Maybe.
How much of that is?
But Fallout 4 wasn't that. Fallout 4 wasn't that though, right?
Yeah.
So it's the fanboys of Fallout didn't. I'm
what
sure
did
there were
IGN
some,
give
but
Fallout? Do we know?
I don't know. Yeah. Fallout 4 is not an 88 on Open. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
There's no chance. So it's like, I'm actually curious. Maybe
but even Open Critic, you're getting all the PlayStation people saying it's a 1. Sure. And Twitter was,
but it's an 88.
On fire.
It's like, that's good.
Is it 88 user?
Oh no, Open Critic, it's 88. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just talking Metacritic. Like Metacritic, it's like you have all the people that love Xbox that give it 100 before they even own the game.
Yeah, it's an 88 on Open Critic. Yeah. Let me see what Fallout 4 is.
It's not let me put it this way: the first 4 hours of the game are not an 88. Yeah. Like I'm looking at maybe like a
Fallout 4 is an 88.
Okay, there you
go. That's 147. So maybe it is. Maybe they just like
I don't know.
I didn't think Fallout 4. IGN gave it a 9.5. Same guy.
That's crazy, right? That's crazy.
That's interesting. He did say he loved Fallout 4. I think that's a little. I didn't play Fallout 4, but
Fallout 4 is in
9.5.
But you could be dense. Imagine if you took everything that they had over the course of 100 planets and put them all in one solar system, even.
Right.
Like that could be like awesome.
They went too wide.
Yeah,
they went too wide.
Like at some point, because like all the planets are procedurally generated terrain. So it's like, okay, we just did these kilometer procedurally generated things and then just slap down the different cities and stuff.
Right.
Obviously a lot. Like the interiors are awesome. Like in the ones, like I'm in New Atlantis right now. It's like the first one you get to.
Yeah.
It's distinct enough that like I know my way around more or less, at least on the like the top half of it and stuff. So like there's something to be said for that it's like, okay, this is good like level design, right?
Sure.
So like that's great. But
Metacritic 88 reviewers, the user score is not available yet. So
yeah, so they're probably just it's technically not.
The game
out,
comes out in 4 days.
Yeah. That's
it'll be interesting. I'm very excited. I mean, on paper, this should be my favorite game of all time. but
Should be up there.
we'll see. I mean, Baldur's Gate. That's the tough part of this. I mean, Baldur's Gate. I was telling you is easily in my top 10 immediately. I mean, I put 150 hours into it over the course of like a couple weeks.
Yeah,
it's like can't argue with those results.
And that's not my typical type of game. And it's just, that's all I'm thinking about while playing this game.
Because like Divinity, I liked Divinity, but I didn't even finish Divinity, right? So it's like, it's not like I'm a Larian fanboy and I'm like, I love this style. I do like their style. I think it's interesting. I like the, elements that they play with like for combat and I like that stuff. But like, it was just a good game. It was just so good. And they put in a universe I care about, right? So it's like always going to be a factor.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Wednesday it comes out for me, so which sucks because I have this whole weekend where I have off.
That's why I did it, because I was like, man, I just got to take the bull by the horns.
If they did that on purpose, that's a smart move.
They had to
get, right?
Yeah.
That's where the whiteboard room comes into play.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's right on the Game Pass. Like, if you launch Game Pass, it's like, oh, you can play it early, $30.
And then I own it forever?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it worth playing early?
You're just playing the upgrade. That's it.
I might do that. Fuck.
The way I look at it, it's like, okay, they gave you the base game through Game Pass.
Right.
And then you're paying for the upgrade. So you get some extra gear, which I don't even think I've come to think of it, seen the gear. So I don't know.
Got scammed.
But then you get to play it early and it's like, well, it's a long weekend. Yeah. Like I can just be a degenerate and
I go back to work Wednesday.
I mean, you could
a very long weekend.
Yeah. Like what else are you going to do? Play League?
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean,
I shouldn't, but
you're out. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well.
You don't have an excuse because you already finished Baldur's Gate. My problem is, like, I could have been doing Baldur's Gate at this point.
Yeah, I'm a little ahead there. So now I'm going to use this time to catch up.
Yeah.
That's what I might do. I mean, I got to play Assassin's Creed. I got to play Street Fighter, so I don't have to hear you bitch and moan about that.
Yeah. I uninstalled it. So if you play it, let me know and I'll reinstall it.
You uninstalled it?
Dude, Starfield's 140 gigs.
Wow. Yeah. That makes sense. Is Street Fighter big? Big download?
I honestly don't know. Between 60 and 80, maybe.
Interesting. They just came out with like a new character. They have 2 new characters already.
Rashid? That was the first one. Then
Rashid was the first one. This is a chick. She's like a snake lady.
I don't know. I'm not a big Street Fighter lore person.
Me neither. But I think that game looks sick. Anyways, I got to play that. There's a lot of games I have to play, but we'll see. See what happens.
Yeah.
I'll probably play none of them and just
play League. I think Starfield would be. I think you will like Starfield. It's just you have to go in where it's like this is going to be a very slow burn, and you have to like I'm really trying to care about everything everyone's saying, and they're throwing around terms and factions and different things like that and whatnot. So it's like someone's just trying to recruit me for like the army, and I'm just like, sign me up.
Oh,
like,
really?
Like, sure.
You're just saying yes to everything?
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the way to do it. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's why
maybe you'd be very particular about what you say yes to, and that's how you like.
Well, he was saying he's like, oh, if you'll have unlimited work and lots of credits, and like done, because it's like I get my own shit, like I can get. It's like okay, cool, like. I'll do that.
Yeah, that sounds up.
I mean, that's what Han Solo did. Yeah,
yeah. But now that you think about it, yeah.
So
absolutely, he's a contractor. Cool. Yeah. No. I'm excited. It'll be interesting to see how Starfield turns out. But, anyways,
I don't even know where we're gonna review that. That's gonna be like we'll just.
I have so many things. I have to update my
that list.
I don't even remember what that website's called.
I have it bookmarked.
I do too, but groovy.
Sure.
Anyways, I finished a decent number of games this year, so
yeah,
should be a very interesting game of the year talk, and like this could be the greatest year for video games ever.
It's a pretty good
It's
year.
actually crazy, and we should have a discussion about that at some point where it's like. I think it'd be a great top 5 towards the end of the year where it's like top 5 years for video games, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is up.
I mean, Mortal Kombat's out in 2 weeks. Spider-Man's still coming out. The new Assassin's Creed's still coming out.
Remember Hi-Fi Rush? That was this year, by the way. Feels like a millennia ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a great game.
Yeah.
Just completely engulfed. Like we were like, well, this could be game of the year contender.
Yep.
Nope.
It can
could
be in the
but
conversation, but it's an instant like you're not.
Dave the Diver's probably better.
Yes, I enjoy Dave the Diver more.
Right? So it's like, okay, so if you're even going to give it to like an indie game.
Yeah. I mean, Armored Core
doesn't have a chance.
Which
Armored Core's out. Yeah.
I refunded that, just as a heads up.
So, oh, wow. Yeah. You didn't like it?
It's okay. It is very Armored Core. And I don't think the interface is very good. So
we should go over.
I'll get it on
we
sale.
should do another top 5 where it's like top 5 UIs because I'm like so curious to hear what you actually. I'm just so used to you shitting on AI or UIs all the time.
It's one of those things like you need to be able to, and I'm sure muscle memory will play a part in it. But if it's like to sell something in Armored Core, you have to like go into your garage and unequip it and then go into the thing and then sell it and then to buy it and then to equip it. It's just like there's a lot of like menu hopping, but it's not quick menu hopping. It's you have to back all the way out and go into something completely different and then back all the way out and go to. I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like it's not intuitive.
Yeah.
And it's very, and then I don't want to say this, but it's like Japanese games have a very distinct way of doing, specifically like FromSoft has a very distinct way of doing things like that, which I don't even know if they're Japanese. But it's just like, are they Japanese?
I don't know.
Japanese country? A company? I don't know. Anyway. But it's just like they have a very distinct way of doing their menus and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be some sort of a unification in like, you always hit escape to back out.
Right.
Like, why do I have to hit escape 12 times or whatever?
Yeah.
And if a game makes me hold a button down to confirm something, which like that annoys the heck out of me because it's like, why am I holding this for 3 seconds? Just hit it and move on.
Or do like an undo. Maybe that's why, like
something,
an undo option, just in case you fucked up.
Yeah.
Or a double tap.
Shake your
thing. Put in your passcode.
Yeah.
Put in your social security number. Yeah. Yeah, something.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be an exciting conversation for like game of the year.
2025.
2025. Yeah.
We're done with all of the games.
Oh my god, I'm trying. I mean, I'm trying to play the big hitters. Like, I'm not able to get to the end of games. I mean, the Sea of Stars, or whatever, 89 right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Better than Starfield. Confirmed.
That's your RPG, man. That's the one where you're like, hey,
RPGs.
I know, but
remember
you're like, I really want that.
Octopath Traveler 2 came out this year?
And I enjoyed it.
Had like fucking 80 hours in that.
Yeah.
I played a lot of games this year.
A lot of big games, like long games.
And that game was great, and I loved it, and that's not even a prayer to be
Meanwhile,
in
I'm the one playing the League of Legends games. Did you play any of those?
No. No. Dude, they're all like 80s. Like, let's be honest. And I should be playing them because I actually give a fuck about the lore of it, but... What, am I going to play that over Starfield?
Those are, but that's the problem is those games are video games. All the League of Legends games, you're playing, you understand the gameplay loop, and it's fun within like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like there's none of this like, well, you have to get to this thing and finish the tutorial of this.
It's very straightforward.
It's like, no, I was like running and gunning and feeling awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was sorting, but you know what I mean? Like within... 30 minutes to an hour, and I was like, I'm in, and just knocking
Something
it
to be
out.
said about that.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's why Dave the Diver is the greatest game this year.
Dave the Diver.
You're in
really
right away.
As of right now, Baldur's Gate is just untouchable, but Dave the Diver is.
No, I'm curious about our conversation, and
I mean, we each have to have a top 10 list. So
we'll have to have Jeff back.
Yeah,
and that'll be fun. That'll be a fun convo.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I think that's going to do it for us.
Yeah. Sure.
I think we've reached the end of the line here. But no, it's going to be exciting times. And we have a big, long weekend to play things. But when you're listening to this, it'll be over, unfortunately. Happy Labor Day.
That's depressing.
That is super
you're
depressing.
listening to this, and we're done playing games.
Yeah.
Back to work.
Back to work. Happy Labor Day.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for making it this far. If you have made it this far, we appreciate it. Check us out on couchcompany.games. All of the links are there to all our various different endeavors.
Yeah.
And we'll see you same place, same time next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch. Peace.